You can tell her anything. She's a real good listener. You can tell her anything.
Hey guys, this is Teresa Lee, and this is You Can Tell Me Anything. And I'm super excited because we have a really great guest who just moved to LA and very funny, cool person. It's Charles Gould.
Oh, thank you. I'm blushing. That was a good intro.
Thank you. I tried to keep it succinct. I feel like I usually go on too long in the beginning about what the podcast is about, but I imagine that once it comes out, people will have gotten the picture.
And also, I think that you're allowed in podcasts to go too long.
Yeah, but nobody likes that. I feel like everyone feels like you are supposed to do that and just like be like, well, what did I eat today? I had a sandwich. And it's like, nobody cares. Everyone fast forwards through that.
Yeah.
Or do you like that stuff?
I think it depends on the host.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Like the kind of like really popular ones, it's kind of annoying. But
okay. I know.
Well, you know who I'm
talking
talking about. I don't want to,
Sure.
name names. But some of those ones I definitely fast forward through. But if it's like a host, I don't know, like some of the, this is going to sound pretentious, but some of the NPR-y ones, when the hosts are kind of like talking about themselves, I like it.
Yeah, someone who doesn't talk about themselves a lot is sort of pulling back the curtain.
Exactly.
But I think comedians, we talk about ourselves so much, people are like, ugh, we get it.
Well, especially the ones whose names we won't name.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
Sure.
That's all they do is talk about themselves.
I like listening to my friends' podcasts just who don't live around me just to be like, what are they up to? And then I feel like I don't have to ask them.
Right, because they're just going to talk. That's all they're going to talk about.
That's what they're going to do.
Yes.
Yeah, they save their best material for their podcast.
Yeah, well, that's what podcasts have become, just like catching up with friends who you don't talk to anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so sad. But anyway, speaking of...
That's my vibe, by the way.
That's your vibe?
I just bring everything down.
No, yeah. Well, I have seen your stand-up. I think you're not someone who brings people down, but you talk about anxiety and dealing with being sad. But I don't think you are a sad person. That's actually related to the podcast. Because I started this because therapy got pretty expensive, and I was like, well, I still need to talk to people.
Uh-huh.
But then I feel like every time I talk to people, it makes me feel better. So the idea is like people tell me stuff that they want to get off their chest. Okay,
and then if people listen to somebody talking about stuff, then they feel better.
I feel like going to therapy is like untangling a tangled iPhone cord or something.
Okay.
So you're slowly untangling it, but if you watch someone do it, it's also very satisfying.
Yeah. No, I'm super into that metaphor,
right?
Of the untangling of the yeah.
Well, I like to start every podcast with a good confession,
okay.
Because confessions aren't always bad. Sometimes they're good, and sometimes you're proud of something, and you don't get to brag because it's looked down upon in the social media world. But I think you should brag. So, Is there something that you're proud of that you want to confess?
Just like immediately off the top of my head, I am happy that I moved to LA. I haven't like officially moved.
Okay.
Because I lived in New York for 9 years.
Wow.
And so I'm here now, planning on just kind of like going month to month, but it really, really feels like I'm going to stay here forever, and I'm not going to go back. Mm-hmm. And it was really hard to move. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
How long have you been thinking about moving, and what made you finally make the decision?
I think I started thinking about moving after I did Kimmel in last July. Mm-hmm. So July 2017. And then I was out here, and for a weekend, I was like, oh, I got to move here.
Uh-huh.
And then I came back in September, and I definitely was like, I really, really want to stay here. Uh-huh. But then it took me all the way until February to come.
Like, what were you scared of moving to LA?
Well, I wanted to come here for something.
Right.
And so I was just kind of like sitting around waiting for that. And it just felt like I could sit around and wait for it. And it might become a reality in years, but also it might never happen.
I think that's the fallacy a lot of people have, that you have to move here after you get something. But the thing about moving here is you usually get something after you move here.
Yes.
It's good either way. If you get something and it forces you to move, that's fine. But I moved here for family reasons, but I remember telling people I was moving, and everyone was like, congratulations, what'd you get?
Yes.
And I felt like I had to explain to everyone, like, nothing. I just want to move to LA. And but then I did move here, and then things picked up. But I mean, who knows? Maybe they would have picked up in New York too. It's hard to tell, like you might be at a point in your career where things are happening anyways. But I just think it's not like if you move here with nothing, the industry's still here. So stuff will be happening.
No, absolutely. And everyone said congratulations to me too. And they were like, oh, what are you moving out for? And I had to be like, nothing. And then
just lie and be like, I can't tell you.
Yeah, it's a thing.
You'll find out.
Yeah.
You'll see.
But let's just say it's with a very high-profile celebrity.
Well, that's very exciting. Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
That's totally worth bragging about.
Okay.
Do you go to therapy? Do you have a journal? How do you like confess your thoughts that you
Yeah,
have in your mind?
I just started going to therapy 2 years ago.
Okay.
And so I was going to therapy for 2 years, and then I was obsessed with it, and then it lost its luster for me towards the end
magic
before
of
I
therapy
moved.
was gone.
It was gone because I think I made all these amazing epiphanies for the first year.
Uh-huh.
And then the second year, it kind of like ended up me kind of having the same conversation over and over again.
Sure, I feel like sometimes therapists realize like, ooh, there's like a pressure point here, so I'll just keep bringing that up. And then after a while, you're like, I get it, my mom. Okay, let's
Right.
move on. And they still want to keep talking about it.
Right, yes, and over again.
Yeah.
And also, my therapist did this thing when we first started seeing each other where he gave me kind of like homework. He was like, okay, you're going to do this before you come back next week. And I did it, and it was the best thing I'd ever done. It kind of like changed my life. And I went back and I was like, this was amazing. I'm so glad you forced me to do it. So then he started kind of trying to force me to do things that I really, really wasn't ready to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it I started to get anxious about going to
Oh,
therapy
no.
because I knew he was going to try to force me to do something.
They're just figuring it out too. But what kind of homework? Just like saying things to yourself, like self-motivating things, or
There
like actual
was that.
action items?
Actual action items, like confrontation stuff,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, and
That's
stuff
scary.
with family and things, and it was really helpful at first
Yeah.
because it's like something that you never knew you could do about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also like a confirmation of stuff that maybe happened in your childhood that you are thinking wasn't as serious as you think it was,
Right.
but then you get confirmation that it was. So it feels like really, really good,
Mm-hmm.
but then you can only do that so much. Like,
Yeah, you could only have a reveal. Well, I feel like I'm very addicted to moments like that of the like really long confessionals or just like confrontations.
yeah.
But once you've had that conversation and things either change or they don't. But once you have it again, it's like, okay, I know how this ends.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. My therapist doesn't really give me homework, but she'll tell me to do like self-soothing, which I actually did, and that was helpful. Just where you have to talk to yourself in third person. And it sounds crazy, but she was like, you got to talk to yourself like you're a child whenever you're feeling anxious. Like, Teresa, it's going to be okay. Don't
Okay,
worry.
yeah.
I know you're worried about this, and it works really well. I
Wait.
highly recommend it.
Okay. So wait, so you're getting
It's-
anxious about something?
It's self-parenting. So the idea is, I mean, for me, like I didn't get a lot of what I needed in childhood from my parents. So I didn't get like the feeling of safety from them, which is what kids need, right? To feel
yeah.
nourished and able to grow and explore.
Yes,
So-
yes.
So the idea is that I keep looking to outside sources for a feeling of safety. And you repeat that. You repeat how you are with your parents, with the people around you. So like in relationships, I'll do that too. And so she was like, instead of looking to outside sources, every time you feel anxious or unsafe, you have to parent yourself. You have to be like, Teresa, it's going to be okay. Teresa, it's fine. And it sounds crazy, but talking in third person to yourself does work.
Okay.
It's like proven.
Do you have to
there's
do like a
science
baby
backup.
voice?
Yeah, and then I respond like, wah. Yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Change your diaper.
Change my diaper. I change my own diaper. I breastfeed myself.
My therapist like tries to give me things to do if I start spiraling through like anxiety. Like if I, which by the way, no anxiety in LA. It's pretty incredible.
It will happen, but
Okay. Just
at some point. But
At some point, right.
It's less. It's much less than New York.
okay.
I mean, only if you're like an anxious person, it will just moods come and go.
Okay.
I think LA is not like a be all end all solution, but it is easier here than it is in New York to deal with anxiety.
Okay. I'd
I
like
found.
to check the box of anxious person for myself. Can I check that?
Yeah, you could check it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's good to be
Okay.
aware.
So it's coming then.
Don't don't think about it that way. That's very. I'm
But
just
that's
saying,
how I
like,
think about it.
you gotta just go with the flow because I'm just saying if you think of it like LA is gonna solve all my problems and then one day you have a bad day, that will make that day worse because you'll be like, oh, the magic. It's like the idea of having the magic broken.
Yeah.
There's no magic. It's just dealing with life in
Yeah.
a better way.
Well, I'm lucky that I grew up here so I know that LA is not going to solve any of my problems. Because I grew up here and so I've seen so many people who LA did
Ruined.
not ruined. Yes.
Oh man.
And that's kind of why I moved to New York and was like, I'll never move back to LA, was because it just really did not seem like things worked out for people out here. My whole entire life, that's like all I had seen. And it's really sad, but
That probably happens everywhere, though, to be honest. I mean, I think people who make. I mean, people's lives are based on their choices, so it's not a place that a place can lead you to worse choices for sure. But I think it's still your choice.
Right, I agree, and I definitely think that there are like unsatisfied, kind of like discontent. Thank you.
I don't know.
Discontented people across the world, but for some reason in LA it feels more magnified because I think the dreams here are bigger.
Sure, and empty.
And emptier, more shallow probably, and also you can just walk outside your house and you can look up at like a $15 million house on a hill, and you're just like, oh, like that. I'm literally one yes away from that, and then you just like you could spend your whole entire life and never get that yes, but that house on the hill will always be there, and you could always be like, that could be me.
True.
Which I feel like is not true anywhere else.
I don't know. I feel like that house is just a projection, right? There's other things. Like people want things that are priceless all the time. Like people look for love or like other like acceptance, things like that could be the, I don't know, like the intangible version of that house anywhere.
Okay, don't bring your hippie shit into this.
Okay. Well, stay in LA long enough and you'll become a hippie too.
No. I think you're right. Well, right. The house is not the answer, right? But you don't know.
You don't know until
you have to
get
remind
it,
yourself.
and then you get to
you
feel
have to
sad.
say, I have to say, Charles, the house is not the answer. I'm talking to myself in baby talk, remember?
Yes. You're learning. I read this study that this was from a few years ago, but it's about secrets. And since this podcast is about secrets, that people having secrets actually feels like a real weight on them. They did the study at Tufts where they did it in 4 parts. So the first part, they asked a group of people to recall like a meaningful secret, and then they had to estimate how steep they thought a hill was. And people who were thinking of secrets always estimated it much steeper. And then they did it a second time with people recalling a meaningful secret and then a trivial secret. And the meaningful secrets, people perceived a distance as further, whereas like overall the trivial secrets were shorter. So the idea is that they're putting more like stress on the secret. So if you're like, oh, on a good day, if you have a lot of energy, I'm like, could you run a mile? You'd be like, yeah, I got it.
Right.
But, if you're thinking about your secret, you'd be like, I don't know. I feel kind of tired. It feels like it'd be really hard. And then they did it with there's 4 rounds. The third round was they asked people to estimate how much effort it would take to complete basic tasks, some physical, some non-physical, while thinking of the secret. And people with the secret, all like sort of, there was like a noticeable gap for the physical tasks being much harder, whereas there was like no difference in the non-physical tasks being harder. And then the fourth one, they asked people to move around books, and some of them had a secret and some of them didn't. And
they just asked you to think of the secret before you did.
Well, so there's different tiers. So this was a study at Tufts. I think the first 3 were the third one. So the third and fourth round got more specific. The first 2 were just like think of a meaningful secret, think of a trivial one.
Okay.
The third one was think about a secret related to infidelity specifically.
Oh, whoa. Nice.
Yeah, and the fourth one was they asked people who were, they asked gay men half of them were like out of the closet, half of them weren't, and the ones who were out could move the books faster.
Whoa.
It's such a strange, it's like there's so many different factors. I was like, I don't know, but it's an interesting experiment because they sort of like tried it out with different types of secrets, different like meaningful ones, trivial ones, and also with people estimating tasks and then actually doing them. And all the time there was a gap between people who had these secrets and how hard they felt like physical tasks would be.
Well, so this is a scientific study proving
it's a psychological study. So it's, it was in Psychology Today and was done at Tufts. But the idea is that secrets actually feel like a weight, like a literal weight.
That's what I tried to tell you when I wanted to talk shit about somebody the other day. And you were like, I don't want to talk shit. You were like, I don't want to talk shit. I don't want to put that there. But I said, this is a secret for me.
But you wanted to give me that weight so that I had to carry it around.
That's not true. I didn't want to give. I think when you talk shit
you want to spread it around.
I didn't want to spread it around. It's
like that light as a feather, stiff as a board. Did you ever play that as a kid?
No.
What everyone puts, maybe it's a girl game, not to gender games. It's, can I take that out? It was a game that I played with other girls at my school.
No, I think
game.
You didn't gender it. Our parents did, and society did.
Society tells girls to think about their weight very early on, and so we played this game called light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Yep.
Wow, it's all coming together. But one person lies down flat on the ground, and then everybody gets around and we do this chant.
Yes,
and then
you try to lift them up.
Yeah, you
right?
put your
Yes.
like fingers under their side, and everyone's around, and then you very like lightly lift them. But because everyone's doing it, it feels like they're floating.
Okay.
So, anyways, I brought that up because you were talking about spreading shit talk around. So I feel like when you do that, it's like you don't have to carry that body by yourself. Everyone's carrying it, and it feels like
Yeah, but then
less
then what's the answer? Just to keep it in? Because
I don't know, maybe
but-
to like, well,
because then like if I tell you my deepest darkest secret, right?
right.
Then you have to carry that weight.
You
with
can
me.
tell me your deepest darkest secret, but I think specifically I just didn't. It was like shit talk. I think you were like, can I talk shit about someone? And I was like, I don't want to hear it because I know that when I hear bad stuff, it makes me feel bad things. But I totally understand that. I used to love to talk shit when I was growing up, and I think that's why I stopped doing it.
I'm on a talk shit campaign.
You are.
I'm pro talking shit. I think that if you're talking shit with the person who you're close with and who you're
Right.
friends with, because we're close friends,
Yeah, we are. We are close friends.
then it can be healthy. And if the person who you're talking shit, I understand you don't want to take on other people's like negativity,
Yeah.
but I do think that people shouldn't repress stuff, even if they feel like even if it like brings them to a negative place. I think you're gonna eventually have to go to that place.
Right. Well, enough about the president. No, I think you're right. I think it's good to tell things. And I think
Yeah.
it was in that moment I was just like, no, but then it was fine. So I'm glad you told
And then
me.
you let me talk shit about that person.
Yeah,
and
you
I
did.
fucking ripped into them. I fucking ripped them so hard.
You're making me sound like such a bad person right now.
No, I'm telling you. This is my campaign.
To talk more shit?
You're not a bad person because you listen to someone talk shit or because you talked a little shit.
Maybe.
In fact, I think it's healthy.
You know what my biggest fear is and why I don't like to talk shit is because I've been in situations where people have tried to bait me into talking shit and then told that person what I said.
That happened to me too.
But it starts like where they're like, oh, what do you think of this person? And then I'll be like, I don't know, they're fine. And then be like, well, here's what I think. And then I'll be like, oh, yeah, I could see that. And then it will open up the floodgates. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I have this story.
Right.
And that person will go to person A and be like, oh my God, Teresa said this. And
Yes.
I'm like, bitch, you started it.
That exact same thing happened to me.
Yeah.
And it was really bad because it was like jobs related. And it was like, yes. And it was so bad. And I can't wait until the microphone's off to talk shit about the person who did who did that to me.
Well, I'm glad you teased that. It's very good. And now I do want to hear something else you have. Like, is there anything else you have on your mind that you want to get off your
Yeah,
chest?
the thing that I want to get off my chest.
Yes.
That I've never
that
told
isn't
anybody
about
this.
talking shit. I'm so excited to hear it.
But I'm worried that it's too trivial.
Nothing's too trivial if it's important to you.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if it's important to me.
It's not important.
But
to
it
you.
is something I've never told anybody.
Okay.
And it was like a big deal
Then I want to
at the time. Okay. All right. Well, when I was in 5th grade, I was
Okay.
at a David Couch's birthday party in Culver City.
Okay.
And we were in his garage.
Uh-huh.
And we were playing Truth or Dare. And someone dared me to kiss. Can I say names on here? Is that
if
weird?
You want to?
Yeah.
If you want, it's up to you.
Well,
I don't know. This
I just
person.
outed
Do
David
I?
Couch
Oh.
as living in Culver City. I don't think it.
I feel like that's a thing people do in comedy all the time. They just say full names because it's funny to be like, and like my 2nd grade crush, Jessica
Yes.
Miscarelli or whatever. And it's funny.
Specificity.
And they probably don't care. I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't care unless it was. Well, I don't know what you're about to say. So if it's terrible, then
It's not
just
terrible.
use your best judgment.
Yeah. It's not
We can
terrible.
always blink out names.
No, the names are good though.
Okay.
They're important. You got to say the
Yeah,
names.
and Couch is such a great name. That sounds like a fake name.
It does sound like a fake name, but I swear it's real.
Okay.
David Couch. David, if you're listening, tweet me.
Tweet at us. Hey, David, what's up?
Tweet at us. He actually did hit me up on Instagram like 3 weeks ago for the first time since high school.
Oh, because you're back in LA.
Well, that's not why.
And he was like, remember my
It
party?
was when I was in New York. I
Oh,
think
okay.
he saw me in the Big Sick,
Oh, yeah.
but like my line
I saw that.
my
Great
lines
movie.
got cut.
Yeah,
So-
I saw you in the hospital scene.
Yes, and I'm in the background, for like 5 seconds,
Uh-huh.
and it's unbelievable how many people have seen it and saw me, because I feel like it's.
You're in an Oscar-nominated movie.
I know.
That's amazing.
I know.
I just realized that. That's so
It
great.
feels so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm in an Oscar-nominated movie for 3 seconds, and all my lines got cut. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be in an Oscar-nominated movie and actually be in the movie. Wait, what was I talking about?
You
Oh,
were
David
at
Couch.
David Couch's birthday party.
Right, and we were in 5th grade, and so we were playing Truth or Dare.
Okay.
And someone dared me to kiss India Donaldson, who was I was obsessed with her
Okay.
in 5th grade. I had a huge crush on her. And
Did the person who dared you know that?
yes, everybody
Okay.
knew.
Okay.
Everybody in the
like,
whole
ooh,
school knew.
let's get Charles to kiss his crush.
Yes. And so, which making me think now that she had a crush on me too.
Did she know? Oh, she must have then, right?
Probably. Well,
Yeah.
we ended up dating in 6th grade,
Oh, okay.
which I think for like 3 days, which I think in 6th grade was practically married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do for 3 days? You just hold hands and are dating.
We didn't even
on
do
the
that.
Quad. You just literally like, will you be my girlfriend? And then you're
Yes.
just on the quad.
And then we would, yes.
And that's
And then
it.
I don't even think I ever talked to her. In hindsight, if I could go back in time, I would go back in time and tell myself, like, don't be so awkward all the time. Like, don't be so awkward. It's okay. It's okay.
You're
But
gonna
I
go
was
back
so
to yesterday and tell yourself that.
no, because now, like, if you embrace your awkwardness, you're not awkward anymore.
True.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So that's what I would have told myself.
Okay.
I would have been like, embrace your awkwardness.
But don't
and
you
then
think
won't
that
be
made you who you are now?
Being
Having the like going through awkward moments growing up makes you better equipped in the adult life to handle those.
That's a good question. I haven't figured that out yet.
Okay.
Because, there are some people who are just awkward and then they're never not awkward.
But then you don't let it cripple your interactions.
Now I don't,
Yeah.
but I did.
Right.
Right. And that's what I would go back and tell myself, don't let your awkwardness cripple your interactions. Because I could have had like a really long, meaningful middle school relationship.
But no, you couldn't. Nobody does.
Right.
But I'm saying if you didn't have those awkward interactions, you grow up less equipped to handle them.
Once you get older.
Yeah. So I'm like, the bros and the queen bees who got to get by in life just like getting everything they wanted, I think have a harder time dealing with adversity as they get older because they're not used to it. So as things get harder and like spots, as they're rising up in the ranks of the workforce and they're not getting everything they want,
Right.
they start throwing hissy fits.
Yeah.
Like that guy from Google who wrote a manifesto about how they're racist against white people.
Yes.
And just like stuff like that. Like if you're used to getting things, you're like, how am I not getting this? But if you're used to handling bad situations, then I think you just get better at it.
Right. Yeah. Although I do think we still live in a world where the queen bees and the bros run everything. Like there is like a lot of instances where people are just fly through life and continue to fly through life until the day that they die.
Maybe. Yeah, that's probably true.
Right. But maybe that's changing a little bit now, but it does kind of seem like because I grew up here and then the other day I was like on the train. I was taking the subway and this dude is just laid out on like 3 seats on the subway and he's like broy. He's like kind of like a broy douchebag. He's like dressed like he's wearing like a what are those? It's not like plaid, like a checkered
flannel.
well, I guess it is
seersucker?
plaid, but it's not flannel.
Oh, just plaid.
He's like wearing
A button up.
he's wearing like a plaid button up right
Okay.
over like a sweater, and he's wearing these jeans, and then he's wearing like those like tan dress shoes that every bro is wearing now.
Oh, No, not Sparrows. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, I don't know
Something
the
like
company
that.
either. And he just has his foot out over 3 seats, and I'm like, this guy's such a douchebag. And then I looked at him closer, and he was a guy I went to high school with.
Oh no.
Who was just like cool in high school and was never awkward or weird. And he has just totally transitioned into regular life and is still a douchebag putting his feet over 3 seats so like no one can sit down. Anyway, it was an interesting moment for me because I was kind of like, this guy will never, who knows?
But he's still riding the train, and he's not. Doesn't seem like. I feel like he's like living this life where he feels like he has to take up space because he needs to prove something. Like if he's doing that,
interesting.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
guys who do that are like, I need to be here. I deserve to be here. There's like some insecurity there.
Entitlement.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Oh, you know what? Now I feel so much better about that.
So you were gonna kiss India.
Yes, I was
Donaldson.
going to kiss India Donaldson,
Okay.
and then we made a request that the people turn the lights off
Okay.
before we kissed because, I don't know, we were really awkward.
Because you want to get in the mood. Okay.
Yeah, because we want to get in the mood. And then they turned the lights off, and it was so dark that I couldn't see anything. So all we ended up doing was just kind of like headbutting each other, like hitting each other
You
in the
never
face.
kissed a girl before.
I had never, no one. I mean, this was 5th grade, so
Okay.
no one really had
Right.
kissed anybody yet.
And was everyone just in a circle, and you were
Yes.
like crawled to the middle, and we're like, we're gonna kiss.
Yes.
Okay.
And we yes. That's so perfect. Yes, we crawled on all fours up to each other, and then we were face to face, just like looking at each other, anticipating the moment. and then the lights went off, and then we moved in for the kiss. Totally missed. Kind of like I think my nose like hit her eye.
Oh no.
Yeah, but we still made this sound. Like I still went mwah, and I think she went mwah too. So it sounded like we kissed.
Right.
And then they turned the lights on, and then they were like, "Did you guys kiss?" And India was gonna say no, and then I cut her off, and I was like, "Yes," because I just didn't want to go through it again.
Right.
Because it was too much anxiety for me at the time. I couldn't handle it, and I said yes, and then everyone was like, "Oh!" And so everyone had thought that I had had my first kiss in 5th grade, which at the time made me super cool.
So yeah, you were like the big shot.
I was the big shot on campus because I had had a first kiss, and like a lot of people hadn't had their first kiss yet. And I was always like, "Oh, that guy had his first kiss in 5th grade." So it kind of like even carried over into 6th grade.
Oh wow.
When people still hadn't had their first kiss, and I was still like people would still be like asking me for advice and like, "Oh, what was it like?" And then that carried over into 7th grade, and then into 8th grade, and you still
hadn't had your first kiss.
I still hadn't had my
But
first
you
kiss.
dated her, and you still didn't kiss her.
No, we didn't kiss.
You didn't kiss her on the cheek.
No.
How did you ask her out? How did that happen?
I think if I remember right, there was like a 5th grade luncheon. There was like a dance or something like that.
Okay.
It was either in 5th or 6th grade. There was a dance, and I asked her to go to the dance.
And then you were just dating.
And then we were just dating. Yes.
Man, things were so much easier back then.
I know. Like that's how it was in the 50s too. I feel like.
Yeah, you're just like, "Do you want to go with me?" And
Yes.
you're like, "Yeah, okay, great. Now we are together."
And then you're married,
And that's it.
and you have like 2 kids.
Well, then you pin each other. The pin is like when it gets serious. I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I know because I was in Bye Bye Birdie.
Oh, there you
There's
go.
a song about that.
About the pin.
Yeah, about pinning.
Oh,
he
that's
like
kinda-
pins her.
Oh, nice.
I wonder if that's what that Lion King quote is about. Pinja.
Do you think that that's but that maybe that's like? Oh, did you like that? Did you like that?
My producer's laughing.
Do you think that pin is like means something else?
Oh wait, you mean like they're fucking?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Like once you pin them, it's like, well, now she's giving me her pussy like that.
Yes. Like pinning like
Maybe
was like code
I don't know.
in like Bye Bye Birdie. Maybe Bye Bye Birdie is really just about high school
Well, they
kids
used to
having sex.
actually give pins or ring, like the class ring or the pins. But you might be right. It may have been connected. It may have been like, oh, he pinned you, so
Yeah.
you got to give it up.
Right.
But I don't know. It's so different because now I feel like people have sex first and then they're like, I still don't know. And then you like do that for 5 months. And then
Yes.
you're like, so what is it? And then you're like, I guess I don't like you. It's like, great. Well, we just fucked for 5 months. So
Teresa letting a little bit of her personal life in.
no,
To
I'm
the
just
podcast.
saying that's the way that the world is now. So I don't know. In the 50s, it felt like it was this time when it was like, do you want to go out? And then you go drink soda for 5 months. And
Yes.
then you're like, well, what do you think? And then you pin each other.
Right. But which one's better, you think?
I think neither is better. I think as long as people are open and honest, it's fine.
Okay.
There's probably miscommunication in both situations.
I would say there's more miscommunication in the first one.
In the modern day?
No, in like
the early
in the
days.
when you pin.
Right, because you're like, so, and then you're like deciding for so long.
But
feel like it's
do you
better-
really have a decision though? That's why I think it's like not good. That's why I think there's no communication.
You don't feel like there's an initial period of dating when even though you like each other, like two people can be attracted to each other but not know each other well. So you can be like, okay, let's date. But you don't think there's an initial period of like still deciding. Sometimes it's like you're attracted, but you're like, I don't know you, right?
Right.
So it's like you need to like spend time with each other to know. And I think sex complicates things. So in modern day, I mean, sex is great, so it's fine that people have sex early. But I think it can complicate things because if the sex is good, but you don't know that person well, you could get to know them and realize you don't like them,
Right.
but still want to have sex. So that's when it gets into that weird.
But like you can also, I've like had really good sex with people and convinced myself I like them.
Right. So that's what
Their
I'm saying.
personalities.
It can confuse things. Is
Yes.
what I'm saying.
Even though I realized later that I did not like them at all.
Oh man.
Like I did not enjoy spending
At
time
all.
with them.
Yeah,
Outside
you
of
break
just
it
having
down.
sex with them.
Right.
Yes.
But then I think in the past it's the opposite can happen where you're waiting so long that you convince yourself you really like that person because you've like invested so much time in them, and then you're like, well, now I have to see this through. So it still comes down to this like. That's why I think the benefit of having sex when you want is that it doesn't become this thing that you're like conquering. It's just there.
Right.
But then it can complicate things if you realize you don't like each other. So I
Right.
think in both situations, there's pros and cons.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I just like if I look at my grandparents, I don't think that they were happy in their in their marriages and their relationships, and that they kind of like were from the pin,
Oh yeah. Well,
from the pin generation.
my grandpa only ever dated my grandma.
Right.
And they got married, and
Right.
I think he loved her. I mean, they fought, sure, but they were
Yeah.
together until the day he died. So.
Yeah, but no, my grandparents hated each other.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
who doesn't hate someone they love
You.
at some point in their life?
I feel like you don't hate anybody.
I hate so many people. That's so wrong.
Do you want to talk shit?
Wait, I
Let
want
it
to.
out.
Wait, I want to hear more of the. Wait,
Oh,
okay,
right,
so
Indian
you,
Donaldson.
So you had your you had your first kiss in 8th grade. You said.
So I ended up in the summer of 8th grade.
Okay.
So the summer before I went to high school, which is, that's Loserville. If you haven't had your first kiss before going
Well,
to high school.
Speak for yourself. I didn't have my first kiss till my sophomore year of high school.
Oh, really?
But
Maybe.
I was a late bloomer. I didn't start having sex till I was out of college, pretty much.
Really?
Well, I was like senior year last month or something. No, it
That's-
was like February, March-ish, spring-ish.
Oh, wow. Spring of senior year,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
That's when I lost my virginity. That sounds like a Blink-182 song. Kind of. No?
Oh yeah, fell in love with a girl at the wrong time.
It was spring of senior year.
Spring of senior year, I fucked her. Yeah. Okay, so you had your first kiss in 8th grade.
Yeah, so then I ended up
What was-
having.
so
it
how
was
did
at
that
like
happen?
It was at like this sleepaway camp.
Okay.
It's funny because I have a whole joke about it now, and it's because I went to the sleepaway camp, and I decided that I was going to tell everyone I was Italian
Okay.
and not Jewish because
Could be both.
yeah, I guess you could be, but and this guy was not.
Okay.
Yeah, because then I went through a phase where I was like really not into being Jewish.
Okay.
So I went to the sleepaway camp and I was like, oh, I'm gonna reinvent myself as like this cool Italian guy.
Were people like mean about it, or you just were like, I want to
I think
explore
that
a new identity?
people were I think it was a combination of both. I think my friends were kind of mean about it, and also it's this really weird thing where in LA, like, there's like growing up in Santa Monica, like people used to be like, there used to be the people who were from Santa Monica, and her whole entire family would be from Santa Monica. And then there were these people that I've heard, like my parents had been referred to as New York showbiz people.
Okay.
So they'd be like, oh, we've lived in Santa Monica our whole lives, and now there's all these New York showbiz people moving in. Which, it's kind of code word, I think, for Jew.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like overt, but it's a little subtle.
That's worse. Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
when you're like, I know what you mean.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
annoying. Yeah, I definitely went through a phase around freshman year of high school where I like didn't want to be Asian.
Right. The problem is you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yes. Me, I can just be like,
You
oh,
just
no, I'm
pretend.
not. Yeah.
I mean, I dyed my hair blonde, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I told everyone I was Italian and not Jewish, and then I was having the time of my life. And I had my first kiss, and it was at the sleepaway camp, and it was great. And
Did you ever
then-
tell her that you're not Italian?
Yeah. Yes. Well, so in the joke, I'd say that then there was like a campfire, and then there was one night where they threw all of these logs on the fire, and the logs landed in the shape of the Star of David, and they started burning. And I was watching like the Star of David burn in a fire,
Jeez.
and I thought that God was telling me to tell people I was Jewish.
Oh my god.
Like I thought he was like punishing me and like sending me this sign.
Oh my god.
So then the
That's
next day,
so much anxiety for
It's-
a young kid.
oh, it's insane. I know. Yeah, but that's kind of normal, I think, right?
To think that God is
Punishing me?
burning, burning the Star of David in a fire
Yeah.
because you just wanted to have a kiss, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's I guess kids always like imagine they're like doing something. I don't think all kids. I did it too, but I
Right.
think it's well. We've talked about
We've talked about this. Yes,
similarities
we
of our
know why.
childhood.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then I told everyone the next day that I was half Jewish.
And then did you date this girl?
We hung out for the rest of camp. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's
And then I
nice.
think we had another kiss, and I think it was her first kiss too.
That's cute.
Yeah, because our tongues just sat on top of each other. When it was my first like French kiss too.
But you didn't know how to do it.
So I didn't know how to do it. So we just stuck our tongues in each other's mouth, and then we just sat
no.
there on top
Oh,
of each
no.
other, like with our tongues, just like resting there for like 5 seconds.
Was it enjoyable, or was it just like this is weird?
It was weird.
I remember I did have my first kiss, but it wasn't like a French kiss at camp too in 7th grade. But it was like this guy kissed me like a peck.
Wait, 7th grade?
Yeah, so I forgot about that. So
Oh,
I did have
what?
that. So I did have that, but it was like
Okay.
at camp, so I didn't count. His name was Tucker.
What do you mean camp's like the only thing that counts?
But it was like I never talked to him. He like gave me we liked each other and we danced together at this dance, and
Yeah.
then camp people, it's like it's like you're like, oh, you're together, but you're not.
Right,
Nothing's
yes.
happening.
Yeah.
And I would like walk away and like flip my hair and look back at him, like shit like that. Just
Yeah.
things that I thought you're supposed to do from movies. And the last day of camp, he was like, hey, come here, and like pulled me aside and gave me a lip gloss and like gave me a peck, and then ran away.
And then ran away. Yeah.
And then I never saw him again.
You've never seen him again or heard from him or
No,
anything?
this was before like social media. I think he
Right.
had AIM, and we like maybe talked on AIM for a little bit. He's from Texas, so I never really like caught up with him.
Well, here's the thing. I know Tucker
What?
really well. Tucker's here right now.
Yeah.
Tucker,
Oh my
come
God,
on out.
Tucker.
Hey, Teresa. What if it was really hard? Hi, Teresa.
What up?
He works in Silicon Valley now.
Yeah, it sounds like a place that Tucker would work.
Yes. I mean, he's got it, right?
Right.
Or finance.
yeah,
yeah.
probably both.
Yeah.
I think he had a horse
What's like the
or something.
douchiest job? You could do this finance
Yeah,
and marketing and advertising in Silicon Valley.
It's like a startup, bro.
A startup.
Like, I got an app,
Yeah,
or I'm
yeah.
an investor or something.
And then does all the broiest
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. I don't know anything about him,
Oh,
really.
there goes
Who knows?
Teresa again. Not talking shit about Tucker. Or won't even talk shit about Tuckers.
Tucker.
Or anyone named Tucker.
Tucker's I know some nice Tuckers. I'm sure. Wasn't there like a book called Tuck Everlasting?
Yeah. That was a good book.
Yeah, it was a sweet book.
No, I know a guy named Tucker who's actually really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Tucker's
think he
nice name.
overcompensates.
Oh, for being named Tucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I'm Tucker. And then he's like, you look great, though. You're doing great, man.
Never met an Asian Tucker.
No, neither have I. This guy was very white.
Yeah, it just
Yes.
sounds like a broy name.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so you had your first kiss. Did your friends at school ever find out that you...
Never.
So you just were, like lived the lie for the rest of your life?
I lived the life the rest of my life, and I never told anybody.
So
And I was always known as the guy who had the first kiss first.
wow.
Yeah.
So you were like the Don Juan of middle school, and it was all a sham. It was built on... You were like in American Beauty when Mina Safari pretended she had sex all the
Yes,
time, but she was a virgin.
Right? No, yes, and it was all sham, and it was all lie, and I was giving people advice and stuff like that, and talking
On
about how
kissing.
cool it was to
What
kiss.
was this? What kind of advice did you give people on kissing?
I don't remember, but
Oh my God.
not like advice really, but I think when me and my friends would be hanging out, I'd like tell the story. I'd
About
be like,
how you-
oh, it's cool, like yeah,
Did the story change where you're like, yeah, we used tongue? Like,
probably, yeah. I mean, I probably was such a bad liar back then.
that's so funny. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's very relatable. A lot of people get insecure about like your first kiss and dating and things like that, and you kind of like will lean into a lie a little bit.
Yes. No, and then you get scared, and then you're like freaked out that you're gonna get caught. You
Yeah,
start to, and then you
but
have
there's
to
no
live
way
a lie.
people can't find out. But then was India okay with it? I feel like that's okay. Both parties are okay with it. If you were going around saying like, yeah, I kissed her, and she was like being slut shamed, then that would be a problem.
Oh, I don't think she was.
She was like fine with it.
I have never talked to her about it.
Oh, really? What if she was just like, I can't believe Charles told people I kissed.
What if like years from now she's like comes up to me and she's like, "There's something I need to tell you. You ruined my life."
Oh, no.
No, but we're cool now.
Yeah, it's like a young enough story that it's like, oh, that's cute. That's funny.
I would wonder what we should call her and see if she even remembers that.
That would be fun if we could do that.
The only problem is I don't have her phone number anymore.
Oh, that's okay. We'll
Yeah.
we'll retroactively get her thoughts on this.
Okay. Wait, really?
I don't
Do you
know.
want me to
That'd
like?
be cool.
that
Yeah,
would be
why
cool.
not?
Well, there was one time I did this podcast about the first fight I ever got into,
Mm-hmm.
and it was with this kid Chris Harold, and we got into a fight on the basketball court, and I told him that I was doing this podcast where
Okay.
we were gonna talk about our fight, and I asked
Yeah.
him if he wanted to call in. He never responded.
Oh,
He never responded to my Facebook.
he just was still mad at you.
I think he was still mad at me. Yeah.
Wow.
I was probably a dick. That was probably my fault. Can I confess about that, actually?
Sure.
Yeah, I think I punched Chris Harold in the face, and I shouldn't have done that. That was when I was also in
How old are you?
fourth grade, maybe,
Wow.
I think. Yeah,
Chris Harold, if you're listening, Charles is very sorry.
I'm apologizing. But then this is probably another thing where he doesn't even remember it either.
Like he doesn't care. But I think you remember stuff that happens in elementary school
Forever.
very vividly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like this girl, there were like popular girls at my school that were always like showing their boobs, and one of them like she got in trouble because she brought all the boys in the bathroom and like flashed them all.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I like still remember that because it was
Yeah.
like kind of a sexy story, you know.
Yeah.
A middle school kid, you're like a little bit like, and I was like repressing liking girls, I think.
Yeah.
So I was just like, whoa, she showed her boobs, like what? And I still remember that, but I don't like. It wasn't a big deal. It just was a thing that happened.
No,
and
that
then
sounds like it was kind of a
another
big deal.
girl. Oh, it was another boob story, but this was when I was older. I think 8th grade. I went to a party, and I think they were playing Truth or Dare too. But then one of the girls, just like, this sounds so terrible now when I think about it. She just like had all the guys get in a circle around her, and she just like took off her shirt, and just like they just all felt her up.
That happened.
But she like was into it, and they all called her milkmaid. And now I feel like she probably had problems at home, and now I feel sad telling that story.
Well, that happened. There was a girl in my middle school who used to do that too.
But she was like so hot, and everyone loved her, and she was like very nice.
Really?
But also maybe
But
sad.
Yeah. Well,
Or she just got boobs. Also, there's a sweet spot right before you are ashamed of boobs. If you grow boobs early as a girl, which I never had because I still don't have them. I'm still waiting. Crossing my fingers. But if you get boobs too young, but you're not ashamed of it, and people around you are nice about it, there's like, it's sort of fun. And I feel like some girls have that sweet spot where you're like, I got boobs, and everyone's respectful, so I'm gonna play with them because they're fun.
I think every straight guy probably remembers the first girl who got boobs at their middle school.
Right.
Yes.
But then it kind of transitioned into the guys develop, and then they get gross and weird, and then the girls feel ashamed about it. But like, there's a sweet spot before the guys fully develop,
Yes.
and they're not like gross yet, and they're just like, oh yeah, boobs, cool. And then
Right.
she's like, yeah, I got boobs, it's cool.
And then also they probably start to get weird attention from way older
Right, and
dudes.
then once that starts to happen, they start hating it, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
So shitty. Boobs are so great. We should just stop giving people shit for them.
Right. I'm on your team there.
Well, I really enjoy that story, and I think
Okay.
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add about that?
No.
Okay, the truth is
Yeah.
out there.
The truth is out there now, and it actually feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
I
we
don't
all
have to
know.
live this lie that I was the cool guy who made out with the girl in 5th grade.
But you still 8th grade is not that late.
Summer of 8th grade.
Summer of
So
8th
it's
grade,
kind
before
of
high
technically high school.
school. Was your high school very developed? Like everyone was.
Super, super, super developed.
Did people at your were people in your high school having sex?
Yes.
Oh wow.
No, people in my middle school had sex.
What?
Yes.
That's insane.
My friend Taylor had sex in 8th grade.
That maybe he was lying about it.
Ooh. I don't think he was lying about it.
Okay.
Because he totally.
Because she got pregnant.
Because she got they have a kid now.
Oh no.
Yeah, the kid's like 40. Because they were in 8th grade. Yeah.
My high school was pretty prude. I think people were having sex, but not a lot.
But you grew up in the Bay, right?
Yeah.
People weren't like having sex.
Well, I went to a Catholic school for 1 year, and people were definitely having sex there.
Yeah.
And then I went to a public school, and people were pretty good. Like some people were. And it wasn't like a shaming thing, but it
Right.
definitely wasn't everyone.
Are you right? And were people? You're religious or you're not religious?
You
were raised religious.
No, I just went to Catholic school because it was a better school academically.
Oh, okay.
And then we moved.
And then you moved.
Mm-hmm.
And then then you started going to the public school, and
Which
where
was
everyone
better
was
academically,
like,
too.
right? And everyone
Yeah.
was like caring about their grades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people like made out and stuff. I think I did stuff. I like mostly would just like make out at parties. I think
Nice.
I gave my first blowjob in like senior year of high school. So it
Oh,
was pretty
really?
late, yeah. But I wasn't like, I didn't have a boyfriend in high school. So I think maybe if I did, I would have experimented more.
Well, when was the first time you hooked up with a girl?
Not till college.
Not till college. Okay.
Yeah, like senior year of college.
Yeah, that's how it was for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a guy.
Got it. Yeah.
Right, yes.
Yeah, I got it.
Right. Okay.
Do you want to play a game?
Yeah, let's play a game.
This is a game called What Are These YouTubers About to Confess?
Okay.
And I have here a video in the studio, but for those listening, there's audio. And I'll pause it before they make the confession. I'll ask
Okay.
you a multiple choice question, and you just have to guess.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Here's the first one.
I have a confession.
Oh no, she looks so serious.
Okay, so
Wait, is that it?
Well, this is the first part. I'm
Okay.
gonna ask you the question. What does Sarah want to make? What confession does Sarah want to make about something she did in middle school? So that's a clue. A, she told her English teacher that he was bad at poetry and it made him cry.
Uh-huh.
B, she told her classmate that his hair was so greasy it could provide oil for an entire village.
Okay,
C.
that's a good zing.
C, she told a sophomore in high school that she wanted to marry him and he made fun of her on Tumblr.
Oh no.
Or
Okay.
D, she told her dog she thought he was fat and he ran away, then came back after summer with a hot revenge bod. Which one?
Well, can I ask you a question about Sarah?
Sure.
Is she funny? Like, would she consider herself a comedian?
Is she funny? I will say I don't know her, so I'm not sure.
Because she looks so serious, right?
Yeah,
That it's possible that this is all part of the bit.
could be.
I'm gonna go with the sophomore Tumblr thing.
Okay, your answer is C. Let's watch the clip.
In middle school, I told this one kid his hair was so greasy that he could provide oil for the whole village for a month. Who says that?
You're incorrect. The answer is B.
Oh no! And that's the thing I commented on when you were giving the multiple choice.
I was afraid it would be too obvious because it was so specific.
Well, but the dog revenge bot is pretty specific too.
Yeah, well, that one's clearly a joke, but yes.
But you never know. That's why I asked if she was a comedian.
Which one?
Also, I can't tell if she's genuinely sad about it. It seems like she's kind of happy that she said that.
Well, then she goes on to show us her greasy hair and talk about her greasy hair.
Oh, that's brave.
So very brave, I know. Are you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't like this guy.
Okay, here's
This guy is a YouTuber?
This guy's
He looks
name
like
is
he's like 48 years old.
Callum's Corner. Hey, don't age discriminate.
Oh, am I being mean?
Old people.
I'm not
need
age
attention.
I'm not saying that it's a problem. It just seems weird that he would have a following on YouTube.
He may not be that popular. This video only has 33,000 views.
he has 137,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, here we go.
Hey up and welcome to
Oh,
Callum's
he's
Corner.
not American.
Right, do it fast, like peeling off a band-aid. I've got a confession to make, something that I'm really not very proud of. I'm hoping by owning up to it and making the change, it will improve stuff for me.
Oh,
Okay, so
oh.
what is Callum's Corner ashamed of that he wants to confess? A, that he's faking his accent. B, that he is a smoker.
Okay.
C, that he has a DUI. Or D, that he can't turn left.
Like he can't turn left on the runway. Is that what it is?
Maybe.
Okay.
What's your guess?
Well, I don't think it's A, and I don't think it's turn left. So that leaves me with smoker and DUI. Mm-hmm. And he seems very sincere. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, well, can I be mean or no?
You can be mean. Sure.
Okay,
He put
'cause,
it out there. I mean, it's on the internet.
It seems kind of like false sincerity a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with DUI.
DUI?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see the answer. I gotta skip forward because he talked a lot.
Of course he does.
Here we go.
From the ages of 18 to 22, and then I gave up, and it's one of the...
Oh no, it's cigarettes.
I used to be a smoker from the ages of 18 to 22.
Why is that a shameful
and then I gave
confession?
up, and it's one of the hardest things I ever did, basically. And stupidly, I went and had a cigarette.
He had a cigarette.
So yeah,
after
he had
quit?
a cigarette after he quit. He talks about it for a while. We don't need to hear it.
But that's why is that shameful? A, and B, like why does that have to be such a big deal?
He talks about how he quit smoking for a long time and then was recently at a bar outside and was offered a cigarette and smoked it. And so that's his confession.
Is that shameful?
For him, he thinks it's gross. If you want the full video, you can watch Callum's Corner.
Wait, and can I just point out that he has one on the side here?
What?
I'm not NOT capital
no.
gay.
I didn't vet these other videos.
No, you don't have to
other
vet
videos.
them. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, he could be a total alt-right guy. Hopefully not.
I just got a weird
I
vibe
should've-
from him from the beginning, and I don't know. Who knows what that video? I mean, maybe that video is really actually pro.
I think that it may be clickbait, but who
Okay.
knows? Okay, here's the final one. So
Okay.
you have 0 correct. Let's see if you can. Let's see if you
All
can
right,
get this one
I'm
right.
gonna get this one.
Okay, this one. I gotta start here. Okay, here's the final one.
Going back to school has made me realize one thing I didn't know about myself, that I always thought I was really good at not doing.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, what did
Okay.
Catrific recently learn about herself that she needs to confess? A, that she's a grammar police. B, that she's a neat freak.
Mm-hmm.
C, she's a procrastinator. Or D, she's a fucking bitch. What's your answer?
Okay, no, I actually am. I really want to get this right because I don't want to go over 3.
Okay.
So I got to think. Can I talk this out?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
tell
So
me
it's
your
about
thought process.
it's about going back to school.
She
So-
discovered this while going back to school.
Right. So it's got to be something about kind of like going back to school, which could be grammar or procrastination. Right? Do you know the answers?
I know the answers.
Okay.
I wrote these.
Right. I like her the most, by the way, out of all the 3 that
Out
we've
of the
watched
3.
so far.
Okay.
Because she's not taking it so seriously. Right? She's a little lighter.
I just sift through so many shitty videos
Yeah, I know.
to find these.
All right.
What's your answer?
I'm
A,
gonna
she's
go
a
with-
grammar police. B, she's a neat freak. C, she's a procrastinator. Or D, she's a fucking bitch.
I'm gonna say. Oh shit.
Do you want a hint?
Yeah. Is that allowed?
Okay. Well, actually, I don't know what I would hint you at. I could eliminate. I could tell you one answer that's wrong.
Well, okay, but it can't be she's a fucking bitch. Any other one besides that one?
Okay, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not B.
What's B again?
She's a neat freak.
Oh, fuck! I was gonna go with that one.
Okay, so
I'm so
I
bad.
just
My
helped
instincts
you.
at this game are so bad.
Okay, so now you're down to 2 possible answers.
Okay.
It's either she's a grammar police or she's a procrastinator.
I'm gonna go with C, procrastinator.
Let's watch it.
Oh no.
Here we go.
I'm a procrastinator.
Yeah.
I always thought that I wasn't a procrastinator
Oh,
because I'm
yeah.
really good at getting things done and being productive. And when I want to do something, I do it. But that's the key. When
You're correct.
I did
you got 1
it.
out of 3. That's
That's
pretty
the
good.
best out of anyone who's done the podcast so far, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, well, you're the only one who's taken this particular quiz, so you've
Oh, okay.
done the best out of anyone who's ever taken it.
See,
So,
I knew it.
Great job.
Thank
That was
you.
Very good.
Wait,
Pretty
she
good.
also has a video on the side here about coming out. What's up with that?
Oh, I don't know. We can watch it when the pod's over.
Okay.
I guess there's must be certain video titles that just get clicks, like
Or maybe they're ones that pop up for you
I've got a
specifically.
confession. I am gay. I
Right.
am quitting. Why I'm breaking up. Like those certain, you know.
Okay, they get the clicks.
I think they
Yeah, you
do.
gotta go for the clicks.
Well, you got 1 out of 3. That's pretty good.
Okay.
And thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How can people find you and follow your comedy?
I have a website, charlesgouldcomedy.com.
That's Gould.
Yes.
And Charles is spelled the regular way.
Yes. And then
Okay.
my Instagram, charlesgould1.
Okay. And
All spelled the same.
And Charles is in LA now, so if you're listening in LA and you run a show, you should book him. He's very funny.
Thank you, Teresa.
And thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for having me host. Okay, bye.
Next time, actually, I kind of want to get someone else. Is that okay?
Oh, okay.
The
Fine.
host.
Yeah, fine.
Oh, no. I see. I'm so self-conscious about being mean now.
You just want to talk shit about me this whole time.
Yeah, I want to I want to talk shit about you on your podcast. Can we make that happen?
Sure. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.